And in tonight's interactive topic, a state legislator wants to institute a $5 government tax on top of the standard admission fees to adult nightclubs in Pennsylvania. Texas has already approved a similar charge, and that's expected to bring in millions of dollars, some of which will help victims of rape. Club owners say the charge violates their freedom of expression and unfairly links them to crimes against women. With a number of adult establishments here in our area, we hit the streets to find out what you think of their presence here in northeastern Pennsylvania.
I don't frequent the establishments, but I think it's up to the individual if they'd like to frequent the establishment.
Certain people choose to go and view that kind of entertainment, and I believe it should still be their right to choose whether or not they want to go view that entertainment or not.
I think adult entertainment has its place here in the Valley, and I think it's up to law enforcement and county and local officials to keep it clean, keep it within its borders.
Do you agree that adult entertainment has its place in our area, and what impact do you think a government $5 tax will have on the industry?
It's all about you with WYOU Interactive.
Welcome back. Tonight we're talking about new legislation that's aimed at taxing nude and topless dance clubs in the state. Joining us by the phone is Representative Paul Clymer and also Jeff Levy. He's the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Cabaret Association. Gentlemen, both of you, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And let's start with you, Representative Clymer. You are looking at the Sexually Oriented Business Review Act. It's a $5 state charge in addition to entry to Pennsylvania Sexually Oriented Review Acts. Why this bill? Why is this needed?
Well, I'm proposing this legislation for a number of reasons. One, of course, is that the Coyote Strip Club is attempting to establish themselves in Milford Township, Bucks County, which is my legislative district. And we know that there are secondary effects, negative impacts from a strip club that is in operation. We had expert witness, attorney Patrick Truman from Washington, D.C., who was at last night's meeting, who told us about the secondary impact from those who are patrons at these strip clubs. And so the dollars that I would accrue from this $5 fee would go to the Coalition Against Sexual Abuse and the Coalition Against Rape, both agencies within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And so those are several of the reasons why I have proposed this $5 fee. This is not a industry that has any redeeming value. It creates more problems, and though the gentleman, I'm sure, is going to point out all the wonderful pleasures that that you can receive from going to such a place, I will tell you that having exotic sex, nude sex, drugs, alcohol, leading to pornography, prostitution, are things that I don't think sit well, at least in my community. And as their representative, I'm fighting to have this place not to be established, and secondly, to impose this $5 fee.
Let's have Mr. Levy respond. Mr. Levy, in a business where everyone thinks about going to one of these businesses with large amounts of $1 bills, is $5 that big of a deal?
It is that big of a deal. I'm shocked that the representative would even make these accusations and claims that these negative, deleterious secondary effects exist with this club without even conducting any secondary effects whatsoever in the town. What is he relying this information on? What is he relying these facts on? It's based on fear, hyperbole, speculation. There is no facts whatsoever. We have more harm that is done in the school systems and houses of worship that are far worse than anything that the representative is talking about, and I'm just shocked. I've been involved in multiple secondary effect studies with Dr. Daniel Lentz of the University of California at Santa Barbara and Dr. Judith Hanna of the University of Maryland. We do not find that these deleterious effects exist whatsoever. In fact, we just got done doing a secondary effect study in Union, New Jersey, and we find that, as I'm looking at the numbers here, by police calls, doing scientific methodology, empirical data, peer-reviewed studies, that IHOP Chuck E. Cheese, Walmart, McDonald's, Circuit City has far more police calls and problems than the adult entertainment industry does. By taxing us, it's like censoring us. They just want to, they just don't like the content of our businesses. We create jobs. We do a lot of things for our entertainers to give them flexibility, to make them work in a safe haven. Unless the representative has conducted a secondary effects study by credible individuals, then he cannot make those statements that these things exist. Now, I have 30,000 hours in these clubs. I'm sure that the representative has not as many hours as I have in these clubs. I'm an educator. I used to work for the Catholic Church as a school teacher and a successful coach. I do not see these things that he is talking about. And to put a $5 tax would be very unfair. If he and I was appalled when people say, we're going to take this money and we're going to put it to rape victims. Why is my industry have to be responsible for that when there is no proof whatsoever that we cause those deleterious effects?
Let's let the representative respond here. Representative Clymer, why this particular industry and why not things such as violent video games or there is some or adult movie stores and things of that nature?
Well, that is a different issue, and if we want to talk about that, that is very true, that these videos do create violence, and it's an issue that we can discuss at a later time. But I just told you just a few minutes ago, and I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked that gentleman would say that there is no secondary impacts because, as I just mentioned, we had an expert witness, Attorney Patrick A. Truman from Washington, D.C., who came up, who has studies, and I did not know that you wanted those studies tonight. I would have presented them to you, and I can tell you that there are legitimate studies that are made by different groups and organizations not connected to the strip club industry, and they will tell you that there is harm, that there is problems. To think that you're going to have a club that's going to deal with sex, that's going to promote, not that they promote it, but you're going to have problems with drugs, with alcohol, pornography. You have your president's suite and these other rooms where prostitution will probably take place. And to say that that's not harmful, that's a model for the school children that live in Milford Township. And we have 2 elementary schools, we have a middle school, we have families who have moved into the township because they like the traditional family values. They like the safety that is there in the community, the relationships, the camaraderie among the people. That is something that you can't buy. And for this group to come in, this is going to deteriorate those things. Also, he talked about the church. Well, the 10 churches that are in the community have all lined up against the Coyote Strip Club. So I don't know what churches he's talking about in particular, but these churches represent the Protestant faith, the Catholic faith, and they have said, we don't want this strip club in our community, and they have been very aggressive. Just so you would know, we had 2 public hearings. In the first hearing, there were over 100 people who came out. Not one person supported the strip club. 100 people were there in opposition. The second public hearing, which was last night, Wednesday night, in which we had our expert witness, once again, over 100 people, and they opposed the strip club.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in the community coming out. We're about to hit the break. I'm going to give Mr. Levy a chance to respond. I guess the question I would ask Mr. Levy as well, is it a jump of assumption to assume that prostitution will happen in some of these private rooms?
This is absolutely crazy. This does not exist. I do not know what the representative is talking about. This is fantasy, not reality. As far as these president's suites are concerned, the only one I know who's having sex in a president's suite was Bill Clinton. In our industry, it is clean, it is monitored. We have cameras, we have security guards. We don't want to lose our licenses, and we are very stringent on all our policies and procedures. Sex is not happening. It does not go on. This is just fear by the community. It is a form of entertainment and free speech that this particular group just does not want.
All right, we have to take a break. We'll be right back with more on this in just a bit.
We're coming from places outside the area because it has the advantage of a turnpike exit.
All right,
but again, we
Representative
want to
Clymer.
provide good examples, and this is not a good example for young
Representative
people.
Clymer, they're playing the music. We are out of time. I do thank you for joining us. We'll be right back right after this.